Alright, let's get back into this.
The court will now reconvene for the trial of Miss Model Sky.
Emma didn't come back.
Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime.
Hello, Texan boy.
Witness, please state your name and occupation. I was about to say, how are you still talking while drinking?
Like, finish drinking, dude.
Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you. Wandering the trail of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly across intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind call it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor.
Howling wind. I've never heard Edgeworth described it that way before.
Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado soul that is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly.
Please and thank you, Judge.
Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English.
Thank you. Probably say, well,
I reckon I don't think that will, partner. You just daggone dumb did it now. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at Street Side Saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail.
Uh-huh.
I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining.
Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems?
I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those.
Yes, well, what about the fingerprints activated locks on the evidence lockers?
Fingerprint activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those?
He's not being very helpful.
He's not that good with machines or following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses. Now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor?
I have a thought.
If
he's telling the truth and doesn't know about the fingerprint locks, if he's telling the truth, could it potentially be that Goodman set up his locker to be unlocked for him? If Goodman was involved in all this? A fleeting thought.
This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours.
Alright. We're gonna ping your mind just a little bit. Okay. Describe in detail. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room?
I just to make sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's no still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings.
You interred them? Interpreted them?
Videos are nothing, aren't they, useful? When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours.
Right, this is a special evidence room. Like, wait a minute, then wouldn't you all have gotten literally the attack Von Karma had on us? But like, no, that's a different evidence room. That's for all the plebeian shit. The plebeian shit. Plebeian? Whatever.
Plebeian.
Whatever.
Each time I'd erase the tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life.
This guy is a flick for dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room? Wait. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right?
Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style.
So you can confirm that you weren't there. I'm afraid I don't understand.
No desperado I know lets rules get in his way.
Well, no desperado has a job now, does he? No desperados I know join the police force.
So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime? Just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day.
I call bullshit!
There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do.
Bullshit!
I haven't been in that crypt in weeks.
Bullshit! Yep, I'm just calling it bullshit right now. How does this guy avoid being fired? Okay. Deeply explain more of these security systems. You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, correct?
Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence.
And yet you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism?
Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works.
That's quite incredible.
The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence.
Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too.
At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Do you know what you were doing when the crime took place?
What were you doing in a place like that?
I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel steak lunches can beat that powerless Rungo sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner.
What do you assume that desperados only eat tacos, though?
That's not what I meant. I hope this at least taught you a lesson.
That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says, "Did you not want a raise this year?" Hold on. I'm just gonna press this because I can. Out of ammo, Sir Marshall.
That's right, partner. Or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back waist into the sunset.
Or is it the
Are you
ocean?
wanted dead or alive?
Right?
One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Oh, don't you fucking know it. Everyone knows that.
Hey babe, can you go get me my drink?
No.
Damn it! It's alright. Apparently your superiors don't! Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I'd best keep my... Before I use it though, I better up the ante. I'm tempted to press this because he would have known that the light was on if he had seen the security camera. But he said he wasn't even there. That's the thing, he said he wasn't even there. Sorry, my brain is kind of like... Do I pull this now? Am I taking 3 steps ahead? Because I'm like... I need to pull that he was there. Now, question is... Pull here... You know what? You're full of shit. Objection! Ah! Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime.
And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner.
It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint.
This is real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints will be in there.
I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood.
Nuh-uh.
Uh-huh.
What's the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints are at the crime scene?
The blood was wiped away. However, a luminol test clearly reveals this. Well, Officer Marshall? You're gonna use I touched my cactus in the wrong way, huh?
It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime.
Okay. Let's see you try to wiggle your... If you mention that cactus, I will shove it where the sun don't shine.
Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as that blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it.
Oh, you are full of shit.
The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt.
Thank you, Judge.
Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness.
This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it. All right. Let's take a swing here. Well, let's pressure him first. Like I said, it's only natural. Okay, I'm not gonna question that. One of them just happened to be. How do you know this? So then, what about the bloody handprint?
Wasn't mine. Is no mystery. Please explore. My locker is covered with my finger. Yeah, my locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened.
The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1.
On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why?
Unrelated.
They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right. Although seemingly alike, they're totally different.
I don't see what homonyms have to do with this.
Hey, don't be... Hey man, I'm not gonna say...
Wait a minute. How did you know he was wearing gloves? How do you know that?
I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, though to be left by the murderer, or thought to be left by the murderer.
That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker.
However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint.
Oh yeah, I think we tried that too.
So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint? That's the only logical conclusion.
I can't let him squirm out of this one. I've got to find something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this crime. All right, let me take a thing. Let me do a thing. I gotta do a thing. Let me do a thing. Think. Or
you forgot to press the one statement that you completely skipped.
point. That's because you, how do you put it, pay your respects once a month?
Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams.
See,
It'd be strange if I printed words all over that locker.
apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that lock. The data was never removed from that lock program. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing. Okay.
Are you starting to get the picture, partner?
The picture?
This seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this.
Security tape.
So long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise.
Unfortunately, that is completely wrong.
This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where we're going with this cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
I want to present that video regardless. Because I know that was
Wait.
you. Huh? Why am I waiting? Am I thinking 50 steps ahead again?
Yep.
God damn it. Okay.
That's a new statement.
Oh, right. New statement. What do you mean by that?
You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have.
But that video is next to useless. It's full. No, Phoenix! I need you to rub 2 brain cells together before I hand your brain cells over to Gumshoe. Or worse, Meekins.
Blind spots?
Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in the video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now.
Fuck it! Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall.
Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us on this incriminating evidence of the witness. Officer Jake Marshall.
Wait, okay, come on. Play. Fast forward, come on. You gotta get all the way to the end. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall.
The days are short and take. No, the fuck they're not.
They're long as shit. I say they're having just visited.
And so are our tapers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less?
You're a lying sack of shit. 6, bitch. Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video.
Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner.
The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. That locker with a white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. How far?
From the beginning.
God damn it. Don't hand Meekin's brain cells will probably lose them or worse, kill them off with this megaphone. Fair enough point. That's a fair enough point.
Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall?
When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away.
Order! You seem that's the only... Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man.
Huh?
So what if my locker was open? That don't mean I'm the one who opened it.
You're the only motherfucker who can!
The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine.
I think even everyone's like, are you a dumb one? Are you dumb?
Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? I mean, technically you are.
This guy just isn't just plain dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who could open that particular locker.
Oh yeah? I call your bluff.
I swear to God.
You say I opened that locker, now prove it.
Take that!
A fingerprint sensor?
We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by detectives they belong to.
What kind of crazy talk is this?
Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this.
In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks.
So, Sheriff Dumbass, what do you have to say in 8 words or less?
I only got one word for you, partner.
Damn.
No! Order!
I want a
Witness,
pan-fried noodle. I keep ordering it, you never give.
Fuck off. Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard.
I assure you this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime.
Olay, please answer the question.
What is he now, a bullfighter? That's right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here.
We can?
Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall.
If that's so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer.
All y'all motherfuckers need, like, to take baby steps on this one?
Yes.
That's right, the only possible conclusion.
Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime?
Okay, we're assuming he is victim. Because, yeah, we're assuming victim.
Take that!
Officer Marshall was standing right here.
There? What else? That's what the victim, Detective Goodman. I fucking called it!
You did. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up as Detective Goodman.
Fucking called everything about that. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure.
May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted.
When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir.
Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond?
He says there's away from me.
Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it?
Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room. So he must have been carrying it.
The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card.
Oh, I get it.
If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized that the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall?
You got quite an imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence.
Circumstantial evidence. He's still denying it.
You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as a victim.
Why don't we just go to your locker right now and open it?
I can't say I particularly care for your cooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your bed, but you don't see me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of the doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as a victim?
Well, am I kidding? I don't have anything like that.
I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. I was about to say desert.
This can't be happening. Phoenix, just say, let's go to your locker right now and open it. So obviously he's the one. What can I do? Motherfucker.
It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics.
The base. Return to the fucking safe. For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box.
Flip the chessboard. Wait.
We're going back to that later. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise.
Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been.
Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker.
According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. But then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth?
Perhaps. Perhaps the video is the key to all our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence on this video is my only shot.
Very well. Let's take yet another look at the security tape.
Yay.
After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker.
Alright. Probably the attack. Okay. There it is. Meekin's blood is on it.
Take that!
For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I do not know to what end yet.
Yet.
However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood.
Soiled it. Soiled it. Soiled it. A bloody white coat?
You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker.
Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall. Are you ready to tell us the truth?
No.
Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we?
Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it.
Alright. Seeing the time has come, and so have I.
Marshall's confession, which is only going to be half-assed because we're not going to get the whole story.
I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. And there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15.
Okay.
So the supposed victim was really you? But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess he's the donor.
It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Well, he
This is
also
Meekins
could've-
we're talking about here.
and also he blacked out from something hitting him in his head.
So it's not like it stopped the bleeding.
Yeah. Alright. Just like him at plans. Why?
What?
Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman?
If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transfer, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. Or the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident.
So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report.
I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot.
The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall.
So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself.
But he could because the rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. Yeah, so this was a collaborated attempt. Now, when you say it, you mean...
Do you even have to ask, partner?
Yes, all 9 is it.
2 years have passed since the case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transfer of that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over.
But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room?
When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine.
And Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it?
That day was my last chance. That's why
You knocked him out with what? You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off.
Let's just say it was a little surprise. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year.
When did Edgeworth get so much influence?
Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. Sorry I have to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything.
By the way, what happened to your knife?
Oh, you mean this one? The one that I've literally been showing off this whole fucking time?
I don't know what to say.
So you knocked Officer Meekins out, and?
Managed to escape. I knew which areas were on the camera, but that's... yeah. There wasn't any murder. Yeah, that's all true. No. I'm willing to bet it's because one of the victims is related to him. Neil Marshall, same name. Coincidental? Maybe. But to push it as evidence? Because what we're trying to do is cross-examine and counterpoint. Would counterpointing this with the SL9 information do anything?
Nope.
Oh, sorry, I'm also adjusting my earphones. It's either the case or this jar being used as a means. You knocked him out, but
What would showing the race prove?
the what?
What would it prove? Because remember, the point of showing evidence is to show a contradiction in the testimony.
So the ID, just like him. Okay, I plan to take out evidence. Well, the reason why I'm questioning myself now is because I'm already thinking 3 to 5 steps ahead. So me looking at this, like, even the most contradictory of things could be under my nose because I've passed it, rather than sitting there thinking about it.
Then allow me to help pull you a couple steps back. You only just need to press all these statements.
Wait, what?
You only just need to press all these statements. You don't need to show any evidence yet.
You got it. So you did your research before it.
Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I don't think it would make a difference, though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there.
What was Officer Meekers doing at that time?
What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is on that day.
But the blood found in the scene certainly indicates a crime took place.
What are you, lying? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So, you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor.
Interesting. Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Could it be a potential 777777777 ID who could have went in and stolen it? Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing?
Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer.
Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense.
Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. You can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary.
Not that salary cuts are even a valid solution.
I don't know. I mean, if you cut the salaries of police officers here, I think that would fix a couple things.
Right?
Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with.
So you're okay with the lie? You're okay with the fabrication as long as you're satisfied with the answer?
Sounds like it. The witness has an unusual... Sorry. Makes it up voices now. The witness has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why?
I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related to that case. I better take another look at the files. Sorry, my bad. I accidentally pressed a button.
Hold it!
That case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out. There's something that still bothers me. Something went down in that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out.
Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think is his real reason is? I had a feeling we would... Okay. So now I probably could present it because I see his name, his brother's name. Brother, father, one of the two.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident.
Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner.
It'll quench you.
It's the quenchiest, partner.
I have the SL9 incident file right here. The name, Marshall, is mentioned in a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man?
Probably his father. Neil Marshall. Yeah, I'm sure you heard the name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got.
Oh, he was a prosecutor.
What? A prosecutor? So it's probably his brother then.
He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors Award.
Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. Well, what's his relation to you? He was my brother.
And looks like younger brother.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to ask this for the people that know. Is any of this touched in the investigations game?
Yeah, I'm actually curious. Is this touched in the investigations game?
Because this is like 2 years ago when Edgeworth was starting out. And I believe the investigation game were prequels, were they not?
Mm-hmm. Let's move on while we wait for the answers.
Yeah. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gant, the then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was part of worked under them.
No, investigations was different cases. Investigations take place after the trilogy.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know why. I always thought they were prequels.
It says that this will be brought up again, but who knows when. So, okay.
We were desperate to prosecute the killer.
That must be Joe Dark.
Ugh. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed.
Oh no. I had a thought. What if Lana wasn't dating Jake? What if she was dating Neil? And he died protecting them. That's why Emma was scarred. 'Cause he died protecting the Sky Girls.
I can believe that.
Oh my god.
He was arraigned and incarcerated. The case was finally closed. At least, according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark.
What?
I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could have beaten him in a fight.
I hate to break it to you, partner, but Anyone can be beaten in a fight as long as you know how to fight them. If you know how to fight someone, even the strongest person in the world, as long as you know that one Achilles heel, you could beat anyone in a fight.
Or, just fight dirty.
Yeah, fight dirty.
And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? There's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime.
Fair enough.
That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with his resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence.
Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence. Officer Meekins confronted him, and he rendered him unconscious and fled.
Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up.
Yeah, if he was protecting, Emma or Lana, he might have gotten distracted. Exactly. He was maybe distracted.
No murder took place at the police department that day. The things that had happened by chance never cease to amaze. At exactly the same time as the murder at the prosecutor's office. This fake murder was going on in the police department.
Chance? It's gotta be more than just that.
So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime.
Bullshit!
Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye.
Objection!
Well, wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Objection!
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today.
But
No buts. There's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me, this boy's got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries of the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Skye. And the testimony of one Miss Angel Starr is completely incontestable.
unfortunately, if it was the real world, her testimony would be thrown out immediately.
If you have a response, make it a single word or less.
I'm gonna kick you in the teeth with no words. Ah!
I rest my case. It seems this trial has reached a conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time. Disproving the alleged murder at the police department.
There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security camera tape really was fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty.
Now then, the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant.
Emma! Your Honor! Wait! Emma! The defense has an objection, a scientific objection. Right? What do you...
Mr.
You have it. My bad.
Mr. Wright? Are you this girl's guardian?
No. Your Honor. In a sense. Please, Your Honor! All I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3.
Testimony. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now, as she mentions it, the names of both Sky's sisters are in that file. That's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. That left only one thing. The other handprint.
You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right?
No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So, I ran over there and looked at it again.
So, did you find something?
No. Well, sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Then why are we here, darling? Please get to the point.
Is that all?
Don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
Oh, Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them... Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you!
Me? Oh, boy.
Thumbs up. Now then, Mr. Wright. It didn't really feel like 3 minutes, but whatever. With regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood mark. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here.
Wait a minute. That blood mark must have come a different time. Because that stupid fucking badger was in front of it.
Yeah, it's true. We couldn't see whether or not that handprint was there at the time of the incident. Is there a problem with this?
Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you can find anything wrong with that blood mark, Lana will be...
Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day.
Yes, Your Honor. I need to concentrate. It's now.
What could be wrong with that handprint on the Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? There's a problem. It's that fucking badger!
Objection!
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction.
The only thing that seems clear is your grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them?
Yes, this is strange. Take a good look at these floor plans. Something is missing.
Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there?
Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark.
Let us pray the defense is simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright.
With all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use.
The question is, which item can prove something is missing in the floor plans?
This fucking thing!
Take that!
What about that piece of plywood?
The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. Blue Badger is not here.
So?
So watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well,
what?
gotcha, fucker! That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot in the locker.
What? So that means, just exactly what does this mean?
It means it can't be done.
What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found in that locker.
Don't look at me. I didn't put it there.
It's right. Think it through scientifically.
Emma.
On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger into the evidence room, right?
After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. That must mean this blood mark was before the fucking thing was there. Was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in?
Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom.
It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice.
But how?
One time was captured on this tape, taken by the same security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, where such a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time... The fact that Officer Meekins didn't even see the blood print when he was putting the fucking badger in, though.
Right.
Someone bled prior to the struggle shown in this tape. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker.
So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred.
When did the first incident occur?
To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room?
That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves it.
Very well, then tell us, when did this first incident occur? As Mr. Edwards said, proof must be presented.
Proof that shows when the murder took place? There's only one piece of evidence that can show that.
Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows when the first crime took place? Yep.
Yeah, because I'm like, will the time match? Miles is too close. And yet all Miles did was just go into a specific locker. It had to have been this. Yep. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to enter it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required.
An ID card? Oh, the ID card record.
Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. Ha!
Oh. Miles Edwards, just what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminol test that the blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood.
That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away. By the real murderer?
I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean...
So it's the one before then?
Yep. The crime must have taken place before Mr. Edwards entered the evidence room.
Let's look at the chart here. There's only one other card number remaining. 777-7777.
Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make any sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room?
Since there's no record of his card being used before him, he must have entered along with the real murder.
Yep.
That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 777-7777.
Mr. Edwards, Please look at this and please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 7777777. That's 17 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present.
What?
Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with the rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. Or perhaps it could be the chief. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection!
But that's ridiculous. Just how?
I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright.
Well, fuck you.
Fuck you. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted.
An official charge?
You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates.
Objection!
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not to you. To her. The defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive.
What? Lana?
Objection!
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we looked up her ID number. And it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing. About that incident.
Really? Is now the time to ask about your little silly question?
Yeehaw, partner. The U.S.A. incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor?
I heard him fine, Mr. Edge.
2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time,
Occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did.
Lana! I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law.
Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
Why won't you answer him?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
Lana!
Even if it involved forging evidence. Okay, it's out now.
See? That's what I'm talking about.
But what does this accomplish, Marshall? What does this accomplish, in all honesty? This is not going to bring your brother back. This is not going to undo the damage Joe Dark has already done. Without all of this, Joe Dark probably would have killed more. It was very clear to every single one of you that this was not going to get solved legally. That this was not going to get solved because none of you could bring up the proper evidence. And that includes a failing on your end, Marshall. If you truly knew he was of a state where he was going to kill again, you would have found something. All killers slip up. And you failed to do so. So what was the law supposed to do? Let him keep killing? Let him continue to kill? That certainly would honor your... That certainly absolutely would honor your brother. By letting him continue to kill. So yeah. It's extremely fucking bad that they had to forge evidence in order to get this guy. But you guys are all satisfied that he went to jail and died and was executed for such. Why is it now that you are 100% believing you are all within some sort of moral compass, believing that this should be outed? That's my genuine question. I absolutely could understand anger. I can understand, oh, this is not right. This is not the right way to do it. We all can agree to this. I myself absolutely agree it should not have been done this way. My issue with this is that all of you seem satisfied that he's dead. All of you seem satisfied that the murderer got caught. Why now? It is not productive to be a vindictive little shit just because you couldn't do your job. And by doing your job, that means doing absolutely everything in your power in that moment of time to find something. You didn't, so they had to find something to use. Moving along. Lana's remarks caused such a stir. The chaos. Oh god, we'd have to wait until the following day. It clicks way too fast.